Jamie. Thanks for joining us today for this episode of 10 Minutes With. How are you?
Very well, thank you, Sarah. Thanks for having me.
No problem. Glad to have you here. So you've been with Napthens since 2008, I believe. Could you tell us a little bit about your role there?
Yeah, sure. Seems a long time ago now, 14 years in. I'm the head of real estate in the business. I wear a couple of other hats as well, which I'll come on to later. And real estate is probably, well, in my eyes, the most exciting and the biggest team across the business. We've got 4 core teams that service the 6 locations. We've got about roughly 40 in that department, and my job is to look after all our lawyers and support team members in looking after our clients.
Sounds like a busy role. I'm sure. I'm sure each day is different, and each day is sort of packed out there. We also recently found out that your team has retained its top tier ranking in Legal 500. So first of all, congratulations. That's amazing. So what's the kind of makeup of the real estate team, and what sort of work do you do?
It's a real broad church of the work we do, actually, which works well for us as a business. So we've got, as I say, roughly 40 team players in real estate, and that ranges from looking after developers, looking after the farming community. We've got a well regarded, high accoladed team in rural. We've just won, for example, the tender for being the sole lawyers in Lancashire and Cumbria for the NFU. And when I look around at all the different guys and girls in the team, it is diverse. So on one hand, we might be dealing with the acquisition of land with a view to doing a site setup for the building of houses. We might also be what I lovingly refer to as selling or buying sheds for logistics businesses or investment houses. We might act for repeat entrepreneurial clients that are buying or selling portfolios of houses or commercial property. And we also act for quite a few different institutions, be that short-term lending, mainstream clearing banks, and we work well with lots of sector specialists. We've got a particular specialism in the leisure sector as well. But as I say, it's a very broad church of clients, from hallmark names that you would recognise through to people who are discrete operators.
So that all sounds really interesting. So if someone was to join your real estate team there at Napthens today, what sort of work would they be doing? Kind of what's the outlook for the next 12 to 18 months?
Well, that's a good question. In terms of the work that people do who join the team, again, going back to that sort of diversity and varied nature of workload, would also depend on which team that they operated in. Some teams do more of a certain genre of work than other teams. So, for example, the Preston team that's headed up by Martin Birdsworth is renowned for doing a lot of land development work, whereas the East Lancs team, which is headed by David Hill and Paul Hardy, they do a lot for secured lenders and the leisure sector. Whereas Tony, who runs the Southport team, has a real mixed bag of entrepreneurs and investors. Just turning to your question about the 12 to 18 month outlook, I think it's very difficult to crystal ball gaze, particularly with what we're seeing in the press with the political circus, which people are commenting on, and rightly to some extent. What I can say is that our work in progress is very healthy. We've got a good pipeline of work for the next 6 to 8 months, at least. But we don't rest on our laurels. We've got a very effective CRM program in place with our client base, and we've got outstanding relationships, which is what we want to be known for, with professional third parties, and that's right across our patch and region. And we work hard to invest time in those relationships, and it serves us better to look after our clients in the way they'd expect.
That's brilliant. And I think, having that, confidence in business and confidence in your pipeline is brilliant, because you can just press forward, can't you, with that kind of next phase of growth. So thank you for giving us a little bit of detail there. That's really great to know. We also recently spoke to your colleague, Kieran, who heads up your Liverpool office, and he talked to us about the exciting period of growth that Napthens is undergoing right now. what does that growth in Liverpool mean for the real estate team? Does that affect perhaps the type of work that you'll start to see coming through in your pipeline?
I think so. I mean, turning to Liverpool, this is at the top of my agenda in terms of recruiting the right person to come and spearhead our real estate team and expertise. Since Kieran arrived in April, May of this year, it's been a really exciting journey and net effect since his arrival. What I'm looking for is somebody who's a senior associate or a legal director level, and someone who is fearless in wanting to penetrate the local market with the support of a well-proven, established real estate team behind them. And I think under Kieran's stewardship, being the sort of corporate lawyer he is and how well connected he and the rest of the guys and girls are in Liverpool, I think it's a really exciting opportunity to somebody that wants to develop the career and really blossom.
Yeah, and he was talking to us about the kind of progression opportunities there will be for anyone joining the team, particularly during this exciting time and this period of growth. And the fact that, he's had this, very long and successful career, and he's very keen to, I guess, pay forward the success that he has had and kind of pave way for the next sort of generation of rising stars, I guess. So it does sound like a fantastic opportunity for someone to join at this time. Could you tell us, Jamie, a little bit about how the real estate team tends to work across, because obviously there's multiple offices now under the Napthens brand. And do you work collaboratively with your colleagues in the Preston office, for example? How does it tend to work across the different offices?
Yeah, that's a good question. Thank you. I'll do my best to answer it. We do have 4 teams across those 6 geographies. And in an ideal world, and they will tell you this, it's probably a bit like a broken record, I always say to them, can we please imagine that we're all sat together on one floor rather than being myopic or as opposed to being geography agnostic? I don't want the teams to just work in the bubbles. There is always going to be an element of doing East Lancs work in East Lancashire or doing Sefton Borough work in Southport, for example. But we try and involve and cross the teams where we can on matters. But at the same time, we also want to be experts in our particular fields in our locations. So whether that's in Kendal or Blackburn or Preston, yes, we are collaborative, but we also look after our local markets because each local market has got a subtle nuance, which we still respect. I think it's impossible to say you can be 100% geography agnostic, but one thing that I do love about the team is there is a good sense of community and having each other's backs and looking after each other. And it doesn't matter where you're located, that comes strong from the rest of the team, and I love that.
Oh no, that's fantastic. Well, collaboration is actually one of the values, our values here at Realm as well. And, likewise, we think it's so important. So it just sounds like it's kind of the best of both worlds where there is that local knowledge and expertise. You get to work on those matters,
That's right.
But also you have the opportunity to kind of get a wider spread of experience, I guess, because of the work that perhaps your other offices have. So that's brilliant. Thank you for shining some light on that for us. So thank you so much for talking to us today. It's been really interesting to find out more about the real estate team at Napthens and also how that's going to, perhaps change and get even better as the Liverpool offering grows as well. So thank you very much for being here with us on this 10 Minutes With.